Next, gotta fly through this because you've been in Walmart with me already. You was in Walmart, and you already know this. Now, the only thing I will tell you is this is a fun mnemonic that helps you get everything right. And because you and I went to Walmart together, you already know Tetany, you know Shavastics, you know Trousseau. We got a resident pink-ass patient over here with clonus. We did the diversity DTR to kick me in my chin, you remember, okay? The only thing I would add is a little bit of a rhyme. Arrhythmias, paresthesias. And there's an H missing in here, but oh well. What does all of that add up to? I told you on the one board. Seizures, spasms, stridor. All it is who you see first and a medical emergency. So we talked about that already. We went to Walmart together. We said, I hollered at you across the aisle. You yelled back, Tetany, Shavastics, Trousseau, DTRs, clonus, and seizures. That's what you yelled back. That's easy. But the causes may take you some getting used to. Let's deal with the hypoparathyroid. On the tips of each finger that I have out are the size of your parathyroids. They sit on the side of your thyroid. When I have thyroid or parathyroid surgery, I'm messing with calcium because the parathyroids, 4 of them, control the balance. If you take them out of my body, I don't have any calcium. I will need replacement. If you take my thyroid out, these parathyroids are attached. Sometimes you can accidentally take these out with it. That's why I have on the board that the cause of this is hypoparathyroidism. They're not working anymore, or you just took them out. So parathyroid surgery is just as fine with me if you use that. Thyroid surgery, oh, okay. You snuck and got some of these by accident because they're so attached to the thyroid. If I take the thyroid out, I may pull some of these a little bit. I didn't mean it, but it's common, okay? So parathyroid, thyroid. I taught you that alcohol patients, alcoholics, are going to be low in mag and calcium. If you were to take a minute tonight and literally read just the Miss Piggy portion of that pink packet, I tell you what causes a lot of this stuff right on that little bitty section. Alcoholics is in that section, okay? Diuretics, now you know, we told you that them diuretics get rid of calcium and mag. We already said that. Because we said for hyper, you would give diuretics, okay? Tumor lysis syndrome. I spent a lot of time on things with lysis in the middle of them. I told you that things with lysis in the middle of them give you a high K, high phosphorus, and a low calcium. You might want to write that again. I told you things with lysis in the middle of it, like this word, tumor lysis syndrome. It's going to give you a high K, a high phosphorus, and a low calcium. The treatment, if it's low, give it back. Shit. Give me some calcium gluconate. We got to spend all day on that. If you have a low calcium, give me some vitamin D. It helps me absorb it. You're going to need to give a muscle relaxer anytime the calcium's low, because reality is all of this is showing that I'm twitching. I have a mouth and a face. Write that down. Even my mouth and my face are twitching. I have muscle rigidity. Look at this, big deal here. Face and mouth twitch. And how did we get it to twitch? We did a Shavastics. And what was that Shavastics? CH for Shavastics, CH for cheek. So my face and my mouth was twitching. Now I will tell you this, my student's boyfriend, his face and his mouth was twitching. She wasn't a nurse at the time. She was in my class. She hadn't been licensed yet. But she was like, oh my God, that's an emergency. And he just had his thyroid out. It was an emergency. She saved his life. She's like, I don't know. My mouth keeps twitching. What? She's like, what? She took me to the hospital. It's fine. Okay, now, so muscle relaxer. Relax. Doing too much. Spasms, twitching. Doing too much. Remember what we said. On the other board, we said a high calcium and a high mag give you low symptoms. So the opposite is that a low calcium and a, wherever it is, low mag give you high symptoms. Kept them together here. I even went on to say, with a low mag, boom, same as all of the above. Because they're the same. They were married. Calcium and mag are the same. This goes with this. So if this is low, it's going to go with the low mag. The mag is low, it goes with the low calcium. You should see that in the same person. What person did you see it in? You saw it in an alcoholic. You saw it in that hypoparathyroid patient. But if you remember, mag was interesting because mag controlled muscles and even the muscles here of the gut, just like potassium. So when you have a patient with hypomagnesia, it could have been caused by a digestion disorder. In other words, beloved, you couldn't absorb it anyway. You had chronic diarrhea with these two. Chronic diarrhea, and there's diarrhea right there. Diarrhea, diarrhea, diarrhea. Or, like I said, you didn't absorb it. Malnutrition. Diuretics make calcium and mag go down. Keep saying that over and over. Loop diuretics make calcium and mag go down. I keep saying that over and over. So what are the complications? What happens if I can't get my mag? I'm going to have complete discontinuation of peristalsis. I'm going to have a paralyzed paralytic ileus. Paralyzed, nothing's going on. Nothing's happening. Stop everything. Boom, I'm done. I'm going on break. I'm on strike. It ain't gonna work. You're gonna get cramps. Cramps in your legs, cramps in your fingertips, your joints in your fingers, cramps. Your muscles help you swallow. You might not be able to. What do we treat this with? Well, we treat the cause, and we use the same treatment that we did with the low calcium. We stop the diuretics. We stop the aminoglycosides if that's the problem. We give magnesium sulfate. So with calcium, we give calcium. With magnesium that's low, you give magnesium. So give mag here, give calcium here, you'll be fine. Same thing. Treat the cause. If it's low, give it back. These two stay together, they're married. Last one, which is not bad at all. Thank God. Hypocalcemia usually goes with a low mag. That would be something I probably would just kind of note, because if I were you, I would not have known that. As a student, I don't know that I would have known that. A low potassium goes with a low mag. You're not married, it's just weird that way. They go together. The same is not true for high potassium. The same is not true. This is the only weird fluke in the mix. A low potassium goes with a low mag. Now, obviously we're going to need an EKG because it controls your muscles. If it's low everything else is low. Remember when it was high, everything was high. You had peaked T waves. Now you have a prominent U wave. And what I tell you about the U wave, because you didn't heard about QRSs and PV, oh my God, you're just so confused. Here, this letter, I teach my students that the U means under where it needs to be. The U wave means that the K is under where it needs to be. And the T on the high K was peaked like a big old mountain going to the top. Too high, peak P wave. Too low, under where it needs to be. PVCs, okay, I doubt if you'll have to know this till later. PVCs, SG. The point we're making in this section is all this EKG shit. Now, you do have to know this. I did it on Monday. I told you when the K is low, DIG is high. How high? Above 2. So this repeats it in case you ain't catch it up here. Remember, if the K is low, DIG is toxic at greater than 2. So you're toxic at 2. Well, greater than 2, I should say. If K controls muscles and the K is low, there's not a lot of muscles going on, so we're constipated. Bowel obstruction. Once again, paralyzed ileus. Well, what caused it? Anything that took K out the body. This is the number 1 cause, and NG to suction. Your NG tube to suction, which we do for all GI emergencies, can suck the K right up out the body. Check it right out. Nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea, you threw it up. I didn't have to suck it out, you just gave it to me. Okay, so nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. This one I wrote in all capital letters. I've taught it to you before, but if you've never been in my class, you wouldn't know. So remember, with alkalosis, all K is low. And you're going to nail it. With alkalosis, all K is low. That makes sense because when we did the hyperkalemia, part of our little matches was acidosis. This is alkalosis. Diuretics could have caused it. Duh. Pernicious anemia because you can't absorb it. And DKA, let me tell you about DKA because you learned a lot of things about DKA and we're doing a little bit of diabetes hookup. Let me just remind you that with DKA, potassium could be high or low. The key with DKA is you better watch it. So all DKA patients get an EKG because you don't know which one they're going to throw at you. Typically, DKA patients have a high K, but you can meet the ones that's really sick and very much been a diabetic so long their kidneys are really crazy, and you can meet somebody that's healthy and that's not been so far along, and they can have a low. So you can meet either one. If you meet someone that's kind of young and healthy, didn't I tell you the way we get rid of K is we pee? DKA, you got polyuria. You keep peeing. So it could be high or low. Normally it's high, but we have to remember the people that are low. That's why we just do an EKG. So this could go on both hyper or hypokalemia. I put a little box around it. Everything else needs to stay with this. Okay. Now, the rest of this you already got. What would I say as a last note on this one? Well, since we know know that the diuretics, the loop diuretics, take potassium, sodium, and water out the body. Sometimes for a patient that's at risk for really low K, or maybe they came in with a low K, we may stop the Lasix and give them a potassium-sparing diuretic instead. Spironolactone spares the K. What's the other name for it? Aldactone. What does it block? Aldosterone. I think I better say that again. Spironolactone spares the K. What's the other name for it? Aldactone. What does it work on? Aldosterone. The aldosterone part of RAS. Okay, all right. We got to go on over here to acid-base, y'all. I know y'all tired, but we got to keep it moving.